palpable, is it? Palpable. Palpable, he says. Well, yeah, all right. It's palpable here too. It's palpable everywhere. Yeah, so eerie. And we need to. I need to shut myself off here. There we are. Okay, got it. Ha. Jeez. Hello. I leave the tea bag in the cup. That's well. That'll do. That'll do. I have. I have here a dram of port. I just bought a bottle of port the other day. I drink about a glass of wine a month, but the port kind of caught my attention. It's presidential port, and I tasted it, and I really like it. Said we went down my throat. Oakleaf 88. Hello, hello. We need to give Oakleaf a moderator wrench. ABC, hi ABC. Montenegro. Montenegro, really? Where's Montenegro? Montenegro. I think I have a vague idea. I'm going to look it up. Where is Montenegro? Copy. There. Bang. Ah. Podgorica is the capital city. Montenegro is right next to Kosovo and and just south of Sarajevo. It's a Balkan country with rugged mountains, medieval villages, and a narrow strip of beaches along its Adriatic coastline. The Bay of Kotor, resembling a fjord, is dotted with coastal churches and fortified towns such as Kotor and Herceg-Novi, however you say that. Dermator National Park, home to bears and wolves, encompassing limestone peaks, glacial lakes, and 1,300-meter deep Tara River Canyon. Wow. Sounds wonderful. Delighted to have you with us. Weak with sugar and milk. Looks like chicken soup. What, tea? Looks like a joke. Whoa, Donna Arnold. ASMR. We're keeping him awake. We're keeping all the Europeans and all the Asiatics and all the Afrikaners and everybody east of us asleep. Should be sleeping, keeping them awake. That's all right. We'll make it worth your while. Kaler. Hello, Kaler. Nice to see you. Bong Ed. Bong Ed. Enjoying your videos, watching my tank until I got the notification. Well, we're gonna return the favor by turning you blue. Bong Ed. You are now one of the many, whatever they're called, moderators, right? Thomas Drewitt or Drewitt, 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 Drewitt. I've had dirty tanks pretty much from the start, but the deep sand bed method takes it to a next level. Tell you what'll add a level on top of that level, Thomas, is do a food web. That'll really get you going. That's exciting stuff. I wonder if I can find this. I went to Super Cichlid today in Dover. Ta-da. And I um, checked my camera. My camera. I checked I used my camera, checked the aquarium I set up there. It had a little algae. We cleaned it up and put a few more plants in. And I've got a picture. Whether I'll be able to get it up or not, I don't know. But we're going to try. No idea how to get to it here. Ooh. Let's see. Few details. Let's see if that'll help. 4:30. It's got to be today. Okay, it's gonna be this one, I think. Oh dear. I don't know. I don't know. I'll try this one. And if it's right, I'm gonna bring it up. Nothing is happening. Oh well. I think we're a dead goose. Okay. Oh well. Fresh garlic better than garlic powder. Well, yeah, Ken. The whole idea with garlic is to treat it as a food. You want to take a whole garlic clove, smash it up real fine, and then put a little in for the fish to eat. The whole idea is that its effectiveness is as an internal purgative. It kills bacteria, internal bacteria, also parasites that are internal, like tapeworms, that kind of stuff. So you want them to eat it. The problem, the problem with the liquid garlic is that it breaks down almost instantly. And so it really has extremely limited effect. I remember when it first became available, I used it a lot because I like the idea of being able to put garlic in the water. It's organic, it's homeopathic, it seemed like a good idea. It was going to get rid of bad bacteria, and it didn't do any of those things. It just sort of fouled. It's an organic material. It just kind of broke down and got attacked by bacteria rather than attacking bacteria because it broke down very quickly. So then I began to realize that its value really is same as it is with people. It's when it's eaten. So it's a matter of getting it into the fish. Thank you, Killer, very, very much. A wine fund. All right. I'll take it. Ah, um, Getting it into the fish so that it can work its magic with internal bacteria. That's the biggest single problem treating fish is how to get medication into them. We put medication like fenbendazole, we put it in their food, and that's okay. But the minute you start using those kinds of medicines, you're playing with dynamite because they're very, very powerful uh, toxins. They're really toxins. They're really a form of poison, and they have the ability, if overdosed, to create tremendous stress, if not to actually kill the fish. So if you use something that's organic, something that is natural, like garlic, you're going to be just years ahead. So there. Grandwood is east of me, but it's only 7. You're west of me. East of who? You're not east of me. And nobody east of me unless you're on a boat. East of me. Greenland is east of me, kind of northeast. Well, northeast. Anthony Yudovich. Hello, Anthony. Team Mother Nature, right? Absolutely. Should I worry if my pH is slightly high? No, dear. Don't worry if your pH is slightly high. Christopher, I hear cories are difficult to keep. Are they really that sensitive to water parameters? Cories are a strange fish. They either will do miraculously well or they'll die. There ain't much in between with cories. I put some in here, some black cories, about a week ago. And I don't know if they're still in there or not. I haven't seen them. But then I don't get to see much in here. I did not get to my project yet. My project is to rip everything out of here and replant it. I'm going to rip it all out. I'm going to I'm going to add more sand to it. What I'm actually going to do is remove about an inch and then put an inch of new sand down. And then replant it with smaller plants so you can see into the tank. Is fresh garlic better than garlic powder? That's the one we just did. I caught up to myself. Right. What's up, Ilyuta? Hello, hello. Good to see you. It's West Virginia Holla Girl. Love my father fish aquarium. All right. I love my holla girl. A holla. Living in a holla. She lives in a holla. She's over to the other holla. Over there. On the other side of that holla is another holla. That's the holla what she's in. That one there. Yup. Oh. Stock the new tank with green neons. Ooh. I'm in love with the plants that just. I'll tell you what. The green neon, which I don't think even now is being bred in captivity. I think they're all wild caught. Could be wrong. They've been out a couple of years, but they're still catching them in substantial quantities. It is the hardiest little fish. I mean, they just hold up so well. They're a little bit smaller than a neon, and they don't have the red. But boy, are they nice fish. I need to get some. I need to get me some of them. I've been thinking about what to put in these tanks, and I've kind of decided what I really ought to do is focus on a class of fish. And the only class of fish that'll do well in small tanks are the Tanganyikas. Now, there are Tanganyikas that get big, but I'm talking about shell dwellers and the other little stuff. So I'm thinking that's what I ought to do and try to get into some of the more oddball Tanganyikas. Super Cichlid has got a decent selection. So I'm looking at that and I'm thinking that's what I might do. It's my shop located in Venice. No, dear Nick, my shop used to be in Venice, but it ain't no more. We closed the door. Only the echo remains. Um, I just got too old and too tired to be able to do it anymore, and I couldn't find a sucker to buy it, and I wouldn't have wanted to sell it to anybody anyway. So I just liquidated and walked away, and they painted it over. I think I have a picture somewhere. I need to try to find that picture of the mural half painted white. um, yeah, that was a couple of years ago, actually. So it's gone. Paul Cohen, did I give you a wrench? I did not. I'm going to do it now. There. Did I find, where is it? I don't know. Did I find that video? I don't think I did. I don't think that's it. Ain't nothing happening there. Let's try something else. I think I'm just messing up here. We're back to Montenegro. Oh, 3G. Oh, 3G. Yellow jacket endlers, really. I tell you what, yeah, the endlers are a wonderful fish. They're essentially a wild guppy. Now they're like everything else. They're being line bred, so you're getting things like yellow jacket endler and what blue star endler. There's a line bred, of course, but the original endler is it's a native guppy. That's all it is. A native guppy. It's what guppies were before they became guppies. And they're cool. They're neat little fish. They're colorful. They're flashy. They're tiny. They don't have big fins, and a lot of fun. What? Oh, you're going to buy all the ingredients. Oh, well. Don't be sorry about the shop. It was my decision. I did it all by myself. I could have kept it going. My landlord was willing to let me stay there until I dropped dead. I just felt like it was going to be sooner than later if I did. So, besides which, I got to come back to Maryland. And that was the real problem with the shop. It was retail jail. I was consigned to be there 7 days a week. And they did that for 15 years, 7 days a week. I really did. I don't think I took 10 days off in 15 years. I don't think I did. It was every day, all day. And for a while, a couple of years, I lived in the building till zoning found out and they threw me out, which was a shame. It was a nice little apartment I had set up there. Anyway, Grinwood's cat has come to listen. Oh, good. We should get Tom here. I don't want to get a cat. We have wildcats. I'm in Salisbury, Maryland. The only wildlife in Salisbury is cats, feral cats. Feral cats own this, I think they own much of the eastern shore. They're just everywhere. I have a family of 3 sibling cats that come up to the door every day. They're about half grown now. One of them's sort of cute. The other one's kind of ugly. And the third one is just awful. It's not well. But of course, there's no way to get near them. They dart away if you take a step toward them. But I do feed them. I feed them routinely. Ugh, painted over the artwork. I tell you what, the artwork, it was beautiful. But It was not sealed. It was painted with regular house paint. Now it did not get direct sunlight on it. Never did. It was north facing, but it faded. It was there for, golly, 12 or 13 years, and it faded pretty badly. So by the time it got painted over, there were things you could not see anymore. So it was due. Carlton says, where'd he go? My name is Carlton. I have an after school program with my middle school students. We're studying and learning about the conservation of aquatic animals, and we built 2 dirted aquariums. All right, Carlton. That's wonderful. You'll need to get some pictures, Carlton, and maybe even some little vids with the kids and post them on our Discord channel at the Fatherfish Shoal. Link is below. Link is everywhere. Let me get the link. I think I can get the link. Can I get the link? Have I got it anywhere? I've been on it half the day and I'm not now. I don't have a channel open to it. Let me do it. I can do it. I can do it. I do this routinely. Let me give you the link. And this is an infinite link. This is a link that does not expire. Right here. Frances from Germany. Nice to see you, Frances. Happy to meet you. Gonna turn you blue here, like everybody else, except for Carlton, who's a member in good standing. Now what happened? What did I do? I turned the chat off. Okay, it's back. Provided Joker. Just set up my first dirted tank today. So far, so good. Use the water from my other tank so I can add fish right now. Or wait a few days. Put them in now. Want her to think. Get planted too. Plant it right away. Master Black. Hello, hello. What did you miss? We missed you. Master Black. Slauzers is here. The Blue Gang. Slauzer says, absolutely. Anthony Yudovich, what happened to your 10 cloudy water vid? Well, it's a funny story about that. Glad you asked. It will be back Tuesday. More glorious than ever. We had problems with it. There were problems with, there were production problems. There were mislabeled problems. There were problems with people whose videos we used. We gave them credit, but we didn't use them appropriately. There were problems with trying to do a corrected video, putting that up. It came up live, shut up to 100 views in 10 minutes, shut it down, and it went dead flat. So just too many problems to cope with. So I shut it down, and I've got my editor, Dead Man's Will, who is working on it now. Actually, he's going to be working on it tomorrow, and we've come up with some really cool cuts, including one of dead shark in a Spanish. You probably saw it, a Spanish public aquarium that got shut down. It's got some pretty neat stuff. So that's going to be reposted. Excuse me, on Tuesday, and it'll be called Stop Cloudy Water. That'll be the thumbnail name. I don't know what name it's gonna have. Something about cloudy water. I don't know exactly. But anyway, it'll be back, and it'll be better than it was. I hope. I expect. I know. It absolutely will. Jungle Nook. Use Java moss in all my shrimp tanks. The Java moss is wonderful stuff. Excellent choice. And I'm sure the shrimp are delighted. Crystal is here. Hello, my dear. Crystal's Petting Plants. Crystal is an absolute love. So happy to see you. Billy Bob Blogs just introduced 3 white cloud mountain minnow to planted tiny tank densa and hornwort. Oh, good, no filter. Good job. Good job, Billy Bob. Those are such cool little fish. White cloud mountain minnows. There's a long fin and there's another one. I think it's a gold or something. I don't remember. A couple of strains, a couple of morphs have popped out of that strain. And because it's a very popular fish, widely raised. Lots of people raise them. A good commercial fish, real hardy, pretty busy, not temperature sensitive at all. And it's just a nice fish to have in that kind of environment. And they're like a zebra, they're just on the move. It's a danio. So they're essentially a danio. So they're on the move all the time. Neat little fish. Good choice. Ace Coco. Any tips for building and maintenance of a new tank setup? What? What? All right. All right, Ace. Tell you what we're going to do. We're posting the Fatherfish Shoal link here. Do that. Fatherfish Shoal here. Whoops. Do that. Go there, and there will be a dozen people who will be thrilled to advise you on exactly what you ought to do. Erie says we're his avatars. He makes us blue. I love it. Oh, I love it. Detective Lopez. Black neons are hardy. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. They are very, very, very hardy. Very hardy. Jungle Duck. Starting my first dirted tank. Inspired by Fatherfish. None other than. How hardy are black tetras? That's where they came from. Very hardy. Very hardy, Daniel. Very, very hardy. They are indeed. Okay, so we did that. What is this? Carlton Epps. Talking about the tanks and the kids. A 40-gallon breeder and a 10. 40-gallon breeder is a wonderful tank. Mickey Mouse platies, neon and glow light tetras, auto cats, panda cories. Very nice. Very nice. Erie first. You own a dog? Live with a cat. I don't own a dog or a cat. I do feed them. You're welcome, Bambi. Bambi is not blue. How did that happen? How did that even happen? Bambi, goodness gracious. Put some clothes on. Make them blue. 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 Stallion fish keeping gardening. What about mountain lions? Mountain lions. We don't have any mountain lions on the eastern shore of Maryland. We don't have any mountains on the eastern shore. We don't have many hills even. There are no hills. It's all flat. It's like the Everglades. It's like South Florida. Actually, it is. It's just like South Florida and has much the same derivation. It exists as, what do you call them? As an ancient seabed, is what it is. The eastern shore of Maryland is an ancient seabed, flat as a pancake. I don't think there's a rise. That's coffee. What did I buy? I got some really good coffee. Colombian special blend with French vanilla creamer. Nice. Ugliness gives them personality. Well, that could apply to anything. What are we talking about? Mountain lions? What? Oh, the cat. I did say one was ugly. It's not ugly so much. It just, I think it's got mange. It's in bad shape. I don't know if there's anything I can put in their food that'll help with mange. I need to call a vet and find out. Maybe somebody knows. Took you 3 years to adopt one. What, cat? Cats make your house stink of ammonia, among other things. Detective Lopez, did we get you a wrench? We did. It just hadn't shown up yet. Jungle Nook. First time catching. Oh, I feed long time viewer. Nice to see you. Jungle Nook. All right, we're going to go down toward the bottom here. Ace Coco. Ace Coco, do that. Get over on Fatherfish Shoal. You'll not only love it, there are a bunch of people over there right now, including some carpenters. I mean, professional carpenters who will give you all the inside scoop on building racks. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Only gone a few minutes. Well, I didn't see you before. That's what I meant. I haven't seen you in a week at least, Master Black. I missed you. I didn't see you. Sorry. Gone a few minutes exporting liquid ammonia. I see. You got to watch that liquid ammonia stuff. Have I ever told you this story? You know, of course. When we first started keeping saltwater fish commercially, people kept them before that, but it was not commercial. Keeping saltwater fish started in pretty much the early 50s. Now, there were some oddball things that were shipped out of Florida. For example, pygmy seahorses, which are an amazing wonder. I got my first pygmy seahorse when I was 9 years old. So that would have been in 1949. And I got them from a little lady who had a rack of fish tanks in her living room. My father somehow discovered her. How he ever did is way beyond my ken, but he did, and took me there on numerous occasions. One such visit, she had pygmy seahorses. Now, I don't know how much they cost. That could have been the price of gold. But I had to have, I think I got two. Had to have one. My father bought me two. And I got some brine shrimp eggs from her, and dutifully every day hatched out brine shrimp eggs. Now, I kept these two little guys in a goldfish bowl. And no, I did not have salt to change the water. They stayed in the same water. I had a little box filter in there that was filtering the water, and I would clean that box filter about once a month, pull it out, get rid of all the gunk, put new floss in. Filter floss is what we use, and fed them brine shrimp every day. They lived for a year. I think it was two males or two females. I don't know. We never had babies. They never bred. That would have been a kick. That would have been something else. I'd have gone nuts trying to figure out what to feed them because the baby brine shrimp would have been just too big for them. I do have a video somewhere of a pygmy seahorse giving birth to dozens of babies. It's in the library. Maybe somebody could find it. It's not a high production. It's just kind of a shot sitting there watching her pop them out, and it really is pretty cool. Anyway, I was talking about keeping saltwater fish. Now, I love saltwater fish. I really do. In fact, I probably got to convert everything here to saltwater, except I can't do that. It would make everybody crazy, myself included, probably. But I want to get a couple of saltwater tanks because I can get within half an hour, I am at the Atlantic Ocean, where there are inlets at Assateague Island. In by the end of the summer, the what's it called? The Gulf Stream, which is coming north with warm water all the time. It brings up by the end of the summer, it brings up coral reef fish like butterfly fish. You know, the ones with a long pointy nose, cleaner wrasse. Those actually show up here at Assateague by the end of the summer. So I want to get some tanks set up, and I'm gonna do that in the next couple of weeks. The weather is finally breaking. I can get out and do something. I need to find a kid to go with me. It's hard for me to do this stuff myself. Anyway, we're gonna get over there and get some saltwater stuff and set up a couple of salt tanks. When we first started setting up salt tanks in the early 1950s, I told the story about the little crabs, the oyster crabs. But what you don't know is that we understood two things. We understood the nitrogen cycle, and we understood the parasite problem. So the parasite problem we solved with copper. And the way we did it was when we set up a tank, we threw pennies in the tank, one or more, depending on the size of the tank. A 20 took 1 penny, a 30 took 2 or 3, a 40 took more. I think a 50-gallon tank took 5 pennies. 5 pennies. Released copper, killed parasites, also killed microfauna, macrofauna, killed algae, ultimately killed the fish. But it worked for 30 to 90 days. The other thing we did in order to activate the nitrogen cycle, we collected ammonia liquid from the toilet and dumped it in the fish tank, the brand new fish tank with new water in it, thereby injecting ammonia into the system, which forced bacteria to say, "Oh my God, it's on! and they ravaged the ammonia and created the nitrate cycle, and that worked. And that was really pretty effective. Stupid, but effective. Not many years later, the man who designed that system had developed his skill. This is Merle Cohen, to such a level that he actually was the first to bring the deep dirted substrate saltwater system into the US in about 1963. I met him about 1975 or 6 for the second time. I knew him as a kid, met him again later when we were working on the National Aquarium. And we did a display at the Baltimore City Fair. We had to get signatures for a bond issue. The aquarium was built on a $40 million bond issue. And we had to get signatures to get it on the ballot. Plus, then we had to get people to go out and vote for it. So I was spending all of my time, and Merle was, and some other folks were getting out there beating the bushes to get people to participate in the election process, if only to vote for the bond issue. Never mind the governor, never mind the president. We wanted an aquarium in Baltimore because we needed it. I did, and Merle did. We needed it. And we got it. We got it. He shows up at the city fair with a 55-gallon tank, not a big tank, nice tank, 55-gallon tank, plunked it down on a stand, dragged out his containers of salt water, dumped them in, raw salt water, dumped them in, went back to the car, pulled out a bag of fish, brought it over, cut it open, dumped the fish in the tank. Just like that. Brand new water, brand new fish, acclimate nothing, dump them in the tank. And I said, but, he said, so long as we don't feed them, they'll be fine. He learned, in other words, how to bypass the nitrate cycle. Ha ha. And I tell you how he learned to do that. He learned to do that by developing, he didn't develop it. He brought it into the States from Indonesia. Introduced it at the commercial aquarium show in 63. It was picked up in the 80s by Garf, who began developing it as a way of propagating coral. And they had a massive operation sitting on top of a thermal vent in Idaho, where they developed a number of very specific things. They developed a culture, a food web that they introduced to their saltwater system, which had what they called miracle mud. Miracle mud was a conglomerate of bacterial substrate, bacterial laden substrate from literally all over the world. They would get cultures in from everywhere and put them all together and created miracle mud. It's still around. The culture is still around. The culture will never go away. It's probably in 1 million saltwater tanks, way beyond anybody's understanding of even where it came from. They did that. They manufactured reef hardscape, actually built it, created it using concrete and other stuff, created it, built it, just on and on and on and on. And in the process, created live rock, which they sold, all kinds of live coral, all kinds of cleaning crew. Just if you go to the GARF site, they're long defunct, but the site I think is still up. It's garf.org. It is a library of articles about every issue imaginable having to do with dirted substrate, in this case, saltwater systems. It applies totally to freshwater systems. Once we get this going, we're going to be bringing the two together. There will no longer be a saltwater collector side and a freshwater. They're going to be merged, not in the same tank, to be sure, but in the same fish room, because there will be no reason not to have them in the same fish room. That's the long-term goal. You want the long-term goal? You got it. It's going to happen in the next 12 months. That was a long rant. Other streams. What are we talking about? Oh, I'm going to move somewhere. Let's see. Preserved in salt. Preserved. What is that? I don't know. I'm lost. Greenland sharks. Ho ho! Ho ho! Ho ho! Greenland sharks. Greenland sharks are some of the oldest living fish in the ocean. There are some that are estimated to be upwards of 500 years old. How did they do that, you may ask? You may. And I will answer by being very, very still. They don't move around a lot. They do not expend very much in the way of energy. Their intake of calories is relatively minimal. Their caloric expression is similarly minimal. They live in cold water. They just sort of lay around and lurk. And when something falls down that's more or less edible, if it gets close enough, they open their mouth and eat it. They don't move around much. And they live on and on and on and on and on. The Greenland shark. Ain't me neither much. Hey, looking very dapper. Well, thank you. I thought I was I cut my hair today, and it looks weird. Look at that. Does that look weird to you? Looks weird to me. But I got some good news. I went to see my diabetic doctor today. Now she's been working with me, struggling with me now for about 6 months. Finally got me on some new insulin, some new medication. My A1C, when I went there 3 months ago, was 10. Not good. I went back Thursday. All right, yes. Thursday. They checked my A1C. Guess what? 6.0. Yeah. So now I've got my blood sugar under control. I got my heart more or less under control. Next is the weight. I also must thank all of you for buying plants from me from the Father.Fish website. I have sold enough plants to be able to give a little money to some of the guys that are working hard over on the Father.Fish shoal, helping put together these videos, and be able to provide finally an income to me that has managed to get me out of debt. I was going in debt every month, deeply. Made the mistake of getting credit cards. Finally, after 3 months of working at it, I got them paid off. I got a little money in the bank. I'm sending checks out to everybody and taking a deep breath. I'm driving a 27-year-old car that really is on its last legs. So at some point by this summer, I'm going to need to get a vehicle. And if we continue selling these plants and developing the channel, there may well be enough money to be able to get a good used vehicle. So that's the plan. And I'm frankly in heaven. So all of this coming together has allowed me to confront the major challenge of my life. And guess what that might be? That's 50 pounds. 50 pounds. I'm at 250. I want to get down to 200. And I finally have got stuff out of the way so I can feel good about dealing with it without having to stuff food in my face to overcome my anxiety, stress, whatever. So there, my whole life story right in front of you. Minus some stuff I don't want to talk about. But there it is. Can I save my betta from dropsy? That's a tough one. If it is still eating, yes. If it is still eating, feed it garlic, crushed garlic. Dropsy typically is an internal bacterial infection. It is possible that it is a bladder infection, but bladder infection. If it is, it's still caused by bacteria. It could be parasitic. More commonly, it's bacterial. Try to feed some crushed, fresh garlic. If he's still eating, it can reverse it. You want to keep his environment clean? I would take him out and put him in a hospital tank. Brand new water, no substrate, no food. Do not feed him anything except that garlic. You don't want any food in his gut because it'll just make matters worse. So if he's still hungry, get him out of the tank, put him where there is zero bacteria, feed a very tiny amount of crushed garlic. See if he'll take it. Don't give him any other options at all. None. Don't feel sorry for him. Realize that if you feed him, that will guaranteed kill him. Because the food will become foul in his gut by virtue of the bacteria that are causing the dropsy. Okay? Get this now. Understand it. It is very important not to feed a sick fish. It does not do them any good. They have to get well before they're able to digest a meal. No food, no food. That will also keep bacteria out of the tank. It'll keep it healthier. They'll have a chance. Now, truthfully, bettas and dropsy are a terminal condition more often than not. But we did have somebody just last week who brought one back from the brink doing this system. A little bit of garlic, not much, not all the time. Don't leave it laying there. Put a small amount in, tiny, tiny, tiny piece. If they eat it, do it again tomorrow. Don't leave it lay in there. It'll rot. It'll create bacteria and it'll be working against you. So there's that. Nick Pedigo. Nick needs a wrench. Nick is now a standard moderator. A standard moderator. Thanks for talking about saltwater knowledge. Glad you're on YouTube. Good to hear from one of the original fish keepers. Great knowledge and insight. Thank you. Thank you, Nick, very much. Yeah, I'll tell you frankly, Lee Wilcox is here. Ooh, Lee, I've been trying to get hold of you on your videos, and you don't answer me. I guess you don't love me anymore because I'm trying to get to England. If I can raise enough money, I want to come visit. Maybe this fall. Of course, I'll only do it if you'll put me up. If you won't put me up, I won't come. I just won't come because I need a friend. I need a friend. Nice to see you, Lee. Say Adrian Bailey. Enjoy your success. Don't let it change you. Keep it real and keep educating the industry. Funny thing about my success, Adrian, it's a movable target. It's always out in front of me. Wherever I get to, it's elusive. It's like still out there somewhere because it simply opens a door that allows me to go into another room and to accomplish or to work at accomplishing something else. My whole life has been like that. I've achieved some wonderful things. I've lost a lot of wonderful things, but I've achieved some wonderful things. I determined when my father was killed to build a memorial to him. I built a 160 unit apartment building, Section 8, designed for disabled people. $20 million building. I did that in 5 years. And then managed to let owners and developers and managers in the door because I was bullied into it. And they pushed me out the other door. So I've learned some hard lessons through life. One of which is to not let myself be pushed around, because there are those who insist on pushing people around. And I'm at a point where I absolutely will not tolerate it. Absolutely will not. I have been pushed around and pushed around. I've lost so many things because of that. I'm not going to do it again. I'm just not. It's not a matter of stubbornness. It's self-preservation because I'm the one doing this. There are people who are providing some support, helping. They're doing things. It's wonderful. I love it. Appreciate it. But it's not theirs. It's mine. I'm the one responsible for it. I'm the one doing it. And when they're gone, and they will be gone, nobody hangs around forever. I'll still be there and I'll still be doing it until I'm falling on the floor and can't get up. Like that. All right. Doobie doobie doo. Still selling plants. Yes. Still selling the starter pack. And it's gotten better. Oh, has it gotten better? Dennis Engel. Where is this? Need to get Dennis's. Lord, what a huge. There it is, right there. That's Jonathan Martin's. That ain't Dennis Engel. Oh, Dennis Engel. Yeah, Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan. Where is that? Let's see. 659. 654. Okay, it's still coming up. Jonathan Martins, I cannot buy plants from you because I'm from Brazil, but I can give you a tip for the inspiration passed on. Oh, well, thank you. I thought he was, when he said tip, I didn't realize he was saying a fiscal tip. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jonathan. That's very kind of you. I deeply appreciate it. Thank you. And then there it is right there. Oh, Spencer's sister. Goodness sakes, you guys are getting so far ahead of me. You can do it 50% off by end of 2023. Congrats on your A1C. Thank you. 50% by the end of, that would be 25. That'd be a 225. That would be terrific. That would be wonderful by the end of the 6 months. I can do that. I can do that. I want to get rid of this Scott. I really do. I did it once years ago. I walked. I walked about 5 miles every day for a couple of months. Man, the fat melted off. It was amazing. I kept bringing my pants to my mother, asking her to take them in, take them in, take them in. And then it all went back on. I can't walk the way I used to be able to. Here's Dennis. Thank you, Dennis. And thank you for the congrats. I really do appreciate that. I'm so excited about that. Let's see if we can mow in here. I guess not. Okay. Thank you, guys. Now, Silver Creek is here. Hey, Silver Creek. Nice to see you. Silver Creek's got some nice plants too. I'm expecting when this business gets to the point where I can't handle it anymore, we're going to start portioning it out to Silver Creek. He's in Texas, so we can get the West Coast shipments done much more expeditiously from him than from me here in Maryland. I'm doing the starter packs. The starter packs, the only thing that's changed is instead of doing like 4 or 5 species of plants, 16 or 15, whatever, I'm doing 16 bunches, all different species. So you get 16 different, kind of stupid, really, when you think about it, but it's a starter pack. I mean, hey, you got something you really like, you can get more of those, of that one, or maybe 2 or 3. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. And the list of what they are gets published on Tuesday every week on Fatherfish Shoal. So you can look at that. You can determine whether you want that kit, because it changes some from week to week. Not majorly, but there are some things that are different about each list. I ship on Friday. I try to get everything out the same day, all the plants, things like leaf culture and supplement. I try to get those out as the orders come in. So I'm doing those through the week. We do have a distributor in Germany. If there's anybody in the EU who wants the supplement, if you come over to Fatherfish Shoal, the Discord channel, and meet Laura, that's Gray Fox Girl, she will get you set up. She's handling that there. And oh Lee. Lee. Oh Lee. Oh Lee. I want to do that, Lee. I want to do that. Here's the thing about starving fish. I was just reading Silver Creek's comment about starving the bettas. It takes enormous effort and a really long time to actually starve a fish for a couple of different reasons. Number one, because fish are able to slow their metabolism down to nearly zero. I don't know if they can slow their heartbeat, but they slow everything else to the point where they are using very, very few calories. And they do have reserves. They have reserve fats that they're able to burn off. In the wild, fish don't eat every day, not typically. I mean, there's some environments that are rich in food, and those fish will eat every day. But that's really not common. In most cases, fish are living on a virtual desert where there is not a lot to eat. And they'll spend all day looking for food and not finding anything. They may get a meal a week, maybe 2 meals a week, maybe a meal every 2 or 3 weeks, maybe even less than that. In the winter, they, by and large, they do not eat at all. Now, there's some cold water fish that eat through the winter, but they don't get much. The fish in more like central climes, like here in Maryland, those fish don't eat in the winter. There's nothing for them to eat. There are no plants, there are no crabs, there's nothing there. They just kind of hang out and get through the winter until the spring comes when everything is popping, and then they'll get out and get some meals. That's one thing. That's two things. One thing is they control their caloric output, so they're able to be very still and very quiet. They don't burn a lot of juices. Now, if you'll notice, saltwater fish like coral reef fish, that's completely different. Coral reef fish are on the move. They're on the go. They're zipping and flashing all the time. They're very busy, very active, and they eat every day. The reefs are a food factory. Those fish have food in front of their face all the time. It's completely different from freshwater fish. It is difficult to starve a freshwater fish. You've all heard the story of my Jack Dempsey, who disappeared one day. Couldn't find him. A year later, I found him in a tank on the floor in a corner. A year later, no food had been put in that tank at all for a year. It had a little sliver of sunlight coming into it, which was growing algae. He was eating that algae, plus whatever other fell in there, roaches, bugs, moths, whatever. He survived and was thriving. He was healthy as he could possibly be after a year with no help from me. Thank you very much. Adrian Bailey is now blue. Thank you, Adrian. Dooby doo. Yeah, slowing feeding. Yet if you're scared to not feed, then just feed a lot less, a whole lot less. Like one flake a day. One flake. One little flake. Not a big flake, a little tiny flake, like your fingernail or less. Your little tiny fingernail. Maybe the hangnail on your fingernail, even. Not much. MNC, hello, hello. Lee saying he's answered me. I have. Of course, you're welcome to stay with us, you silly old fart. Well, good. I'll be in touch. Do me a favor. I don't think I've got your number anymore. The last one I called, I got the hospital and got chewed out. Send me your phone number somehow or other. You can use my email. It's which one? Do Foxwell, FOX. Anybody can do this. It's fine. FOXWELL 55555 55s at gmail.com. I get mail there all the time. Please, and I'll be in touch. Let's see. The last bit of Erie saying, last bit I had auditioned for Rambo. I dare say. Rhodey's Bettas. Not sure what method I use. Slausers. Dennis Engel, $25. Glory. Start with simming, then transition. Easy on the joints in the back until you lose 25. Yeah, that's right. That's kind of what I'm hoping. If I can get like 25 pounds off, I ought to be able to walk easier, have better balance, and be able to be more active. And that's really the goal, is to be able to get out there and be a lot more active. Raza Sharp International needs a wrench. And he's got to say, I have 3 iridescent sharks and a 55, 3 brown, nice leaves I want to put in, but the pet store said, don't put them in. Who are you going to listen to? Who are you going to listen to? The guy that's trying to sell you liquid fertilizer, or the guy that's trying to teach you how to do a food web? Now, think about that. Think about that. Raza, I love iridescent sharks. What a cool fish. And they do get big. You got them in a 55. I mean, they get big. They get large. I don't remember how big they get. I'm thinking like 2 to 3 foot. They get big iridescent sharks. They grow them out in ponds in like Thailand. And they get big. Neat fish, though. Really cool fish. Lee, I'm not in hospital now. Whoops. Send you my phone number. Some think I should still be there. Oh, listen. don't pay a bit of attention to them. You got as much right to be mad as any of the rest of us do. What do we need a wrench for? Says Donnie. I'll tell you what, Donnie. I'm going to give you one, and then you can figure out what you need it for, or what you can do with it, or how it makes you feel, or the fact that it changes the color of your name and puts a wrench alongside it, much no less. For great comments, Donnie Benfield, and being part of the Donnie is so cool. What kind of leaves? Glad you asked, Dave. Oh, you're asking Donnie what kind of leaves. No, who was it? It was talking about leaves. Raza. What kind of leaves Raza has? By June, we should have the first segment of our 3-section book published on leaves. Everything you ever knew, wanted to know, needed to know, or thought you could ever know about leaves. Which kinds to choose, how to use them, what to do with them, what they're good for, da-da-da-da-da-da. It'll be out. It'll be out in June. I hope. We've been working on it since the first of the year. We've got all the research done. Tommy Denda has been hard put to get it done, but he's got it done. We now have a couple of writers who are putting it all together, and I'm going to jump into the middle of that and tell a few stories or something, so that we hope by June we'll be able to have a PDF that'll be behind a paywall, a big expensive paywall, probably costs $5 or something. That'll allow you to learn everything you ever wanted to learn about leaves. And that money will be used to pay the people who did it, because they are yeomen. They are amazing people. Laura and Tommy particularly. We have an artist and a writer as well. So it's going to be wonderful. You're going to love it, I promise. Where are we? Freshwater lakes are much better than ponds, says Lee Will. Yeah, they are. That's true. Creeks are even better. I love creeks. Billy Bob, glad to listen to Father Fish. Shop said, don't put leaves in too, but I listened to Father Fish. Sludge worms went in. The fascinating disappeared in the sand within 30 seconds. Very happy. Right. Raza says, what kind of tree? I'll tell you what, if it's a leaf that fell in the ground in the fall, it doesn't matter. They're all good. You don't ever want to pull leaves off of a tree, dry them out, and stick them in a tank, because they will have all of the sap juices and other sugars that you really don't want in your tank. They will foul. You want dried out leaves that have fallen off the tree because the tree sucked all the juices out of them before they fell on the ground. That's the one you want. Paul Cohen, closest pond to me is in a park under construction. Can't hunt for leaves and stuff. You may need to do a road trip, Paul. Road trip. Oh, this is cool. Silver Creek. Put leaves and a stump in a blow-up pool for 6 months. Full of life for the aquarium. I gotta eat it for dragonfly. Got a lot of them too. Yeah, that's true. I did a stump. It was an old, very well rotted pine stump that was so well rotted it just continued the process. When I put it in a 200-gallon tank, I don't know if any of you remember that. It was a Blackwater tank. had a bunch of really cool stuff in it, pencil fish and whatnot. It disintegrated over a long period of time, but it really was nice. Kept a really terrific food web in that tank. Food web, food web, food web. Zombie, Zamboni killer here. Zamboni killer is now wrenched. Welcome, welcome. Have you noticed how many new people are coming in? I'm getting 1,000 new subscribers a week. 1,000 new subscribers every week. It's wonderful. It's just amazing. All of a sudden, we're being discovered. And you can see here, I mean, look at this. Nat's not here. Nat's not here. Moderator, Nat's not here is new. Welcome, Nat's not here. And you saying, what? You hear the lightning, the thunder. You don't hear lightning, you see lightning, you hear thunder. It rattled me there. Creaks in my knees. Creaks in my knees. Yeah, probably not collecting many leaves there, though. It won't do you a lot of good for food web. What time is it? 7:20. We're in good shape. We're rolling right along here, aren't we? Emre, have a 450-liter aquarium with ultims. Oh my God. Use pure osmosis water. So pH 5 to 5.0. Would like to flirt with CO2. What do you got for substrate, Emre? What's in? Tell me about your substrate before I tell you about the ferts. I would not do liquid ferts. Absolutely not. You don't know what you're going to get. And it'll make a mess, whatever it is. Just don't do it. There are other options. Steve Warren, 34.2. Wow. Yeah, we broke 34 today. It's been every 3 days. No, 6 days. I don't remember. I should be able to look it up and see. Where is it? Where is it? I can find it. Let's see. 34.2, right? Subscribers. How about we do? I know what. Last 7 days. Okay, in 1 week, this last week, we've gotten 2.3 thousand subscribers in 1 week. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's 2,000 a week. 2,000 a week. That's astounding to me. Just boggles the brain. Alona Balloon, a new subscriber. Welcome, Elena. Elena Balloon. Welcome, Elena. And thank you so much for your prescription. And you now have a wrench. So you're a member of the club. Got about an inch of fluval stratum and about an inch of sand in my 10-gallon. Set it up before it is. Who's this zombie? I want to know. Oh, sand, which is 5 centimeters. That's about an inch and a half. No other substrate. Okay, tell you what, Emery. Add another inch and a half. Add another 5 centimeters of sand. If you get it up to a little better than 2 inches, 2.5 inches, 3 would be better, but just get it up to 2. Just slightly over 2. That will generate CO2, which will allow you to grow plants. It will also retain all of the detritus and the waste, the ammonia, all that stuff. It'll retain all that, convert it, and allow the plants to take it up as nutrients. That will then stabilize your pH. So if you just add another 5 centimeters of sand to that tank, it should provide a lot more stability than you've got now. I'm jealous with Ultims. Wow. 450 liter. That's about a 125, isn't it? It's a big tank. You could do 7 inches of sand in there. Easy, easy. Wouldn't hurt a thing. But get at least 2 inches. Get it up deep enough that it's going to do some good. Right now, at an inch, it ain't, or inch and a half, it really isn't doing anything at all. It's just sitting there being a mud hole. Just get it deep enough that it actually can begin processing some of that waste. It'll make a world of difference. Using pure osmosis water. I understand you're doing that to keep the pH down, which is fine. You want to keep the pH down. That deep substrate will help do that too, and it also will help stabilize the pH. You'll then be able to get plants growing. Do not add liquid fert. Just don't. Oh, you want to fertilize with CO2. If you do, it's going to play havoc with your pH. It'll just knock it all over the place. By getting that extra sand in there, that is a CO2 factory. That's what that deep substrate does. It generates huge amounts of CO2. And if you want to do that to feed plants, and you got rooted plants, you're home free. I am now selling mother plants, mother Amazon swords. They're like that. They are massive plants. Get a couple of those and stick them in there. I also have big Sagittarius long. You've seen. Can I get one? That ain't one. No. I've been pulling them out of here. Huh. I'm doing a good job too. I can't even find one. There's that one now. It looks like a valley, but it's thicker, wider, broader, and will grow to like 5 feet. It's a great plant for a big tank. Those are available as well. Ooh, Mexicali fish keeper. Sorry, I'm jumping around. If I miss your comment and you really want me to see it, just post it again and put my name in. That pops up in red, so I'll be able to see it. Crystal, hello, Crystal. Setting up a 5-gallon deep substrate. Okay, to still put an inch of dirt. No, less due to small size. Half an inch of dirt, 1.5 inches to 2 inches of sand. Do not put a full inch of dirt in there. I don't know what the mechanics of that are. I don't know what the biology of it is. But I know if you put an inch of dirt in the small tank, it's going to create problems. You put that same inch of dirt in a 10-gallon and up, and it won't be a problem. But in a 5 or a 2 or a 1 or a bowl, it'll be a problem every time. I don't understand it, but it happens. So the better part of valor. Let's see. Zamboni killer has about an inch of full inch of sand in a 10. Yeah, that's fine. 1 and 1. It should be fine. 2 inches in a 10. It doesn't need to be deeper than that. You could add another half inch. That would be good. Another half inch would be good. 2 inches is absolute minimum. At 2 inches, it's only the bottom quarter inch or so that's actually processing. So if you add another half inch to that, then you've got 3/4 of an inch processing. And that's more than adequate in a 10-gallon tank. So try to add just a little bit more sand, not much. Do I have Japanese rice fish? No, I do not. And I really should. I've been trying to figure out what to put in these tanks. It's been 6 months and I haven't figured it out yet. I got some bettas to bred, so I got a bunch of bettas everywhere. I got if you've looked at the camera, screwed up again. If you looked at the 24/7 live stream, I have a picture of all of my, there it is, all of my platies, my red platies. I have about 200 red platies, most of which are babies. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with them. I'm going to get them in vats. As soon as the weather warms up enough, I'll get them outdoor in vats and see if I can't grow them up. Duff beer. Duff beer. What is... I don't know what he's talking about. Water parameters. Yeah, he's saying he's got hard water pH wouldn't budge. It's probably buffered up so tight that it won't move. Yeah. What do I have any frontosa? I have had frontosa. I have raised frontosa. I love frontosa. I don't have any tanks big enough for frontosa right now. But what a great fish. Oh yeah. Here he pulled a sessiliflora. Sessiliflora. Couldn't believe the roots. I know, it's amazing. Swords are like that. They just send roots everywhere. Amazing root systems. Mexicali fish keeper getting ready to leave for 14 days. Most have been away from the fish room. Done 7 days without a hitch. Can't lie, I'm a bit nervous. If you've got tanks that depend on water movement, depend on aeration or filtration, depend on the water moving, you might consider thinning out the herd and getting fewer fish in an overloaded tank. In case the power does go out, you're not going to lose everything. That's one of the big problems. The other is having a friend feed. That is a guaranteed disaster. Don't do it. 2 weeks is nothing. Those fish will be absolutely fine for 2 weeks. Put some plants in there if you're worried about it. They're not going to, they can starve totally for 2 weeks and it ain't going to hurt them a bit. They won't even really notice it. So don't have somebody, unless you've got somebody who has fed the fish before, has had fish, knows what they're dealing with, and understands your protocol perfectly already. Not because you're going to tell them, but because they already know. If you've got somebody like that who has been on this journey with you, that's fine. If you don't, do not have a brand new person who doesn't know anything about fish come in and feed your fish. They will kill them. I guarantee it. And if they don't do it this time, they'll do it the next time because they were hungry. I had to feed them. They were hungry. I gave them what you told me, and it wasn't enough. Wasn't enough. I fed them all of it. They still were hungry. I had to go to the store, and I had to buy more, and I kept feeding them and feeding them, feeding them. They wouldn't stop eating. Finally, the water just got so rotten. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I'm too dumb to know what happened. I'm too stupid to know I killed them. Don't do it. Don't do it. Final warning. Mexicali. Do I have to worry about reproducing too much? About 4 more guppies. I read they multiply really fast. Dear God. It says Magnetar. Magnetaris. Magnetaris. Well, 4 guppies. I'm worried that they're going to multiply too fast. Tell you what, Magnetar. You would load that tank up with plants. I mean, to the point where you can't see through it. Load it up. Floating plants are fine. Hornwort is perfect. Anacris, anything like. Load it up. And then you won't need to worry about it. Because the more plants you have in the tank, the more fish you can have in the tank. And the fish will survive because of the plants. So load it up with plants and it will not be a problem. If you have them in a 10-gallon tank, in a matter of a few months, you should have a few hundred, and they will be perfectly happy in there, so long as the tank is full of what did I say? Plants. Say no to war. Where'd he go? Sky and Malt. Been there, done that. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm sure you're right. How long can iridescent sharks go without eating? Depends on the size. You got what, 6 to 8 inch ones? How long can they go without eating? I would say 3 to 6 months. Now, I wouldn't do it because they really want to be growing. It's one of those fish that gets big. So you want to, and that means when they're 6 to 8 inches, they want to grow. They really want to grow. You can stunt them by not feeding them a whole lot, keeping them in a small tank. Don't feed them a whole lot. You can do that. They won't live as long, but it may be the only way you can keep them. If you can get them in a pond at some point, that would be ideal. I give them a chance to stretch out a bit. A week or two anyway, without any kind of problem. My sugars for Christ. Hello, my sugars. Excellent performance. Thank you, sir. Slaughters and floating plants great for the tank, sucking out nutrients and bad things. I use red root floaters and the formula of salmenia. The formula of species of salmenia. Good choices. Floaters. Set up a webcam so you can see what your sitter feeds. You can do that. Don't let them do it. 2 weeks is not too long for a fish to go without eating. 2 weeks is a month would not be too long. They could go without food for a month and nothing would be negatively affected. In point of fact, if you have anything like a food web and plants in there, they will find food. They won't have any trouble finding food because it'll be there. It's part of what we call the food web, the chain, where one thing feeds another. That's what's really going on in your tank. Get that locked into your brain. The tank feeds the fish. Once you got the basics structured and set up, and they're relatively small fish, the tank is providing more than adequate. Ask Lee. Lee's done a 6-month poop patrol on his tank. Did not feed for, honest to God, 6 months. Now, he cheated a little because he fed worms to his frogs. I know. But everything else in there, all the mollies, no food, not a nothing. 6 months. He did a poop patrol. Every day those fish pooped. No food, but they pooped. How do you suppose that happened? They were finding food in the tank, weren't they? Because the tank provides food in a web, in a chain, and nothing is left out. Whatever is living in there is in that chain. They're part of that system. And everything in there feeds everything else. It's real, folks. It's real. It's really, really, really happening in your fish tank right now, and you don't know it. Pay attention. Look at it. That's why I keep telling you, sit in front of your tank and stare at it. Do it all day long one day. All day. The whole day. 12, 14, 16 hours. Don't move. Just sit there and stare at your tank. It'll make you mad. But boy, will you learn a lot. Do mystery snails eat their babies? No, they do not. Mystery snails do not eat their babies. If you got empty baby shells, they're dying. Now, they'll eat them after they're dead. They'll do that, but they have no ability to kill anything. They have these tiny little raspers. They can't hurt a flea with that. They just sort of scrape a little bit of algae or mold or bacteria or scum or something. Just a little bit. Tiny little bits. And babies come along and steal food out of their mouth. No, they don't eat each other. They are not cannibalistic. Diana from Warm Mineral. Diana contacted me earlier in the week. She was so thrilled that I was in Venice, that she could come up and see me and visit my shop. And then I had to break the news to her that the shop is no more. And not only that, I don't even live there anymore. I'm in Maryland now. So boo-hoo. I missed meeting Diana. My loss. How do you stop tissue culture boost the philander from melting? That, Joe Black, is the mystery of the age. I don't even want to talk about abuse. I mean, I got farmers, sophisticated plant farmers who refuse to deal with abuse. It comes from jungle creeks and streams and rivers that have a pH of 3.0. How are you going to even come close to duplicating that. Now, there are some people who grow abuse, and they do it brilliantly. Get hold of one of them and talk to them. I can't do it. I've had it in the air. Forget it. They don't like my tanks. Buse doesn't like my tanks. My pH is too high, among other things. Dooby-doo-doo. Line for an Oscar with a crying performance. You're going to wait for a bit, maybe throw a few scud balls. Scud balls. That would work. Scud are good. Oh, scud balls. Oh, yeah, right. I scud balls are in my leaf culture pack. You get scud balls in the leaf culture pack, at least one, and sometimes more. Would topsoil and adding iron nutrients of the dirt be sufficient? Top with sand, topsoil and iron. Just add sand. Yeah, it will. If you can also add, I'll tell you what would be helpful. That's cheap. Add sodium bicarbonate to the dirt. Not a lot, a tablespoon or so. Not a whole lot, small amount. Add it to the dirt. What that will do, it's going to stay down in there, but it's going to prevent it from becoming acidic. The problem is with any kind of humic material that tends to want to drive it acidic, which will create acid. You don't want that. You prevent that from putting sodium bicarbonate. In other words, putting carbonates in there, buffers, in order to keep the pH stable at least 7.0. So that would be the only other thing I would strongly recommend. There are a lot of ways you can do it. The cheapest is baking soda because it's dirt cheap. Doesn't cost you anything for a tablespoon of that. Only time I had a pet sitter, they showed up once in 2 weeks. Cats were not happy. Fish were thrilled, I'm sure. Christopher, scud balls are cool. Very cool. Spellbreaker. Why any single person with cichlids has 0 plants or only plastic? Yeah, I know. We're going to be doing some tanks at Super Cichlids, big tanks, that will be very heavily planted with big fish, big cichlids, among other things. Now, it's not going to be silver dollars. They're not allowed. But there will be discus. There will be discus in deep substrate planted tanks that get water changed maybe a little bit once a month. Gonna happen. I've done it before. I know it's good. I know it works. We're excited about the owners of Super Cichlids. A beautiful, brilliant store in Dover, Delaware, are very excited about taking the hobby to the next level. And to them, what that means is living aquariums, deep substrate, food web, lots of live plants, living aquariums, biotopes. That's where we're going. And that's where this industry, that's where the stores are going to be going. That's where the hobbyists are going, because that's what needs to happen. We need to treat these aquariums as living environments. We need to give them what they need to be able to thrive. And it ain't magic. And it ain't difficult. It's simple and straightforward. And every one of you out there who are doing it know what I'm talking about. And you're doing it and you're thrilled about it. It's not to say there aren't occasional problems, because there are, but they're fixable. They're fixable problems. Usually it's simply a matter of the sand not being deep enough in a given spot, or having put too much dirt in. That's the most common problems. Too much substrate, not enough sand. So you fix it. Add more sand. Easy fix. Christopher, that's a $1.99. What is this? Oh, that's Dennis. We did Dennis. John Parker. Thank you, John Parker, for your $19.99 donation to the cause. Deeply appreciate it. These little gifts mean a lot because they make it possible for me to really be able to pay the bills. This is a very expensive proposition we got going on here. It seems like it's cheap. It ain't cheap. Dennis, and go start with slimming and try. I think we did what? Thank you for the donation. Excuse me, Dennis. Talking about losing weight. Yes. Lord, how many comments are this? Is amazing. I think I'm getting about 1/10 of them anymore. You guys just carry on. You're doing better than I am. You're making it work. I'm trying to get down to the bottom to see what else there is. Lord, it goes on and on. How many comments? I don't have a list, I don't think. It will show up at the end. Here we go. Christopher NYC. $1.99. Thank you, Christopher. Should high pH be a concern for most neons? No, not at all. Neons are pretty much exclusively raised in captivity. Most of them on Florida farms, where the pH is 8.0. So they're being raised and grown out in high pH water. It's like the angels. Angels have been grown in captivity in high pH water for so long that if you put them in soft acid water, they'll die. I used to be on not Get Kills. What's the other one? Aquabid. Did it for a few years back around 2000. And I had a woman in Philadelphia, I think, who bought, about $300 worth of angels. I spent weeks going around to all the farms, finding the most exotic angels I could, and they were magnificent. Sent them all to her. They arrived in perfect condition. She said, "Oh, I'm going to keep them in their native water." Threw them all into acid water. And they started dying. And she's calling up complaining, "Why are these fish dying? What's wrong with them?" She wouldn't. I had the breeders call her up and talk to her. She wouldn't. No. That's what they grow up. That's where they're from. That's why I'm keeping them in their natural native water. Never mind, for 50 years, more than that, 70 years, these fish have lived in hard alkaline water. She put them in soft acid water. They bled to death. It caused the cell walls in each of their cells to rupture and bleed out. You can see red lines along all the fins where the fin attaches to the body, all red lines, gills bleeding out. Killed every one of them. And then, because he had charged the price of them on a credit card, claimed the money back. And according to credit card law, it was then up to me to go collect. Right. That's when I quit Aquavid. I got so disheartened by that. I just didn't even want to deal with it anymore. That was a long time ago. I would probably react that way again, though. I'm just such a hardhead. Would not listen. She knew what was right. Didn't matter what anybody else had to say, including the people that raised the fish. So no, neons in 8.0 water is not going to be a problem. If you can keep them in 7.0, that's fine, but they're not going to have a problem in hard water. They don't. The only ones that do are the licorice gouramis. The Borneo gouramis will not tolerate hard water. That's about the only fish I know that absolutely won't tolerate hard water. And it's sad because they're magnificent. But they got to be kept in salt acid water, which is why you don't see them often, because there are no shops set up to be able to handle them. We got 5 minutes. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? We got 5 minutes left. Daniel. Did I do Daniel? Buck 99. Did I do Daniel? That was at 7:56. We did Christopher. Coming up. There he is. Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. Should do a living cichlid tank. I could do small. I got a couple of apistos. I have a pair of apistos in one tank. I need to get in and make these tanks much more visually interesting. It's hard to look at them. The water is dark. I've got tannins and everything. The plants are thick. You can't see into them. I'm going to start with this one and see if I can't make them a whole lot more visually attractive. Thoughts on zebra daniels? Easiest fish in the world to keep. Easy to spawn. Anybody who wants to do egg layers and spawn them should do zebras. Simply not an easier fish to breed and raise the young. And they're wonderful. They're zipping around all the time. And they're inexpensive. Unless you get the pink or the green or the blue ones. And they cost more. Good stories, good stream also with it. Thank you, Nick. Very much. Appreciate it. Talk about fish, says Lee. You bet. Lord, yeah. Talk about fish. What would the maintenance be on a 30-gallon tank? Substrate, sand plants, no additives. Can't go. Well, just do what you can. Do what you can. You'll not do it all. Do what you can. The critical ones are iron, baking soda. Beyond that, if you can get worm castings or any kind of char, peat moss is great. Those are good. You can use Epsom salts. Epsom salts is wonderful. It has magnesium. I think it's a potassium. Epsom salts is wonderful. You don't need much. A tablespoon is more than enough in a 20-gallon tank. Doesn't take much. Dane. Hello, Dane. Gonna turn you blue. Hoo-ha. Did I do Christopher? I did. How do you way back there? Bonsai. JTTR bonsai. Madaka rice. Yeah, madakas are... Now, some people can't do madakas. Go figure. If you're doing madakas, you're doing it right, JTTR. Good job. BH Ketsi Nelson. Can we keep both in one tank? I assume yes. Yes, the answer is yes. If you're talking about what I think you are. Do. Gambusia. Silver Creek. We're going to have a little talk about this. I utterly detest gambusia. I've seen gambusia kill 7-inch fish. They bite them to that. They are worse than a piranha. Tiny little bugger, but they will bite and bite and bite and bite and bite until they have bitten the hole in whatever they're biting. They are awful little fish. They kill anything you put in with them. Mosquito fish. Now, there's another one called a Formosa, just the opposite. Gentle, sweet, compassionate, loving. Love of my life, Gambusia. Learn the difference. Gambusia has black on the side, like a line. I mean, Formosa, God, it's late. Formosa does. Gambusia has no color. None. They're like clear white. Long gonopodia. The female is 2-3 times bigger than the male and has a hard black spot at the ovipositor. Nasty bugger. Nasty as can be. We need to talk about this, Silver Creek. If you're doing these guys, you can probably get away with them in an outdoor pond. I would never put them in a tank with anything that I cared about. Dion. Bonsai. Thank you. Where are we? Bonsai just made a donation. What is this? Christopher should know. Oh no, we love you. But 99. I do. Thank you so much, Christopher. And JT here, Bonsai. $9.99 super sticker. Thank you, Bonsai. Very, very much. Difference between rice fish and killifish. They're two different genres of fish. They're two totally, look them up. They're two totally different families of fish. Silver Creek, my dad does. Your dad is probably one of these miracle guys who's able to tame the wild beast. Silver Creek said, I tried to kill guppies. Right, exactly. Get some Formosa. You got Formosa there, I'm sure. They're wonderful. Diana for more mineral streams. Just signed in under business account, selling Florida 7 mollies. Nice. Such a pretty fish. Gorgeous fish. There's another mean fish. Another Satan fish. The devil. Paradise. Absolutely. The most beautiful fish in the industry. And it is a monster. A deadly killer fish. The devil paradise, they call him. Quack. Quack. Thank you, Christopher. Lee. Two mating pairs of angels. Stated opposite ends of the tank. Nice. Nice. I've got a betta, two ghost shrimp, and a mystery snap in a 10. And some bladders. Boy, almost anything. Put some livebearers in there. Bettas, not bettas, you got bettas. Mollies, platies, guppies. They'll be wonderful. Or any kind of like zebras, danios, smaller ones, not big ones. The danios, some of them get like 4 to 5 inches. Just little fish that you like. Neons, you could do neons in there. Any kind of small tetra would be wonderful. Get a lot of plants and you can do anything in there. All right. $60 for a pair of blue rainbow paradise. Honest to God. I don't even believe it. Yeah, I caught Formosa in Venice. It's a very, very common fish. In particularly in Florida. One of the most common. It's about as common as gambusia. Another one is the bluefin killie. Bluefin killie are very common too. You can get both of them. Nice, nice fish. Bluefin are a little more aggressive. Cloud minnows. White cloud minnows. Immersed plant. Talking to ghost. Okay. All right. Where are we? We're done. We're way over. Love you guys. Video coming out Tuesday. Be sure to get over and check out the plants. We got plant deals you won't believe. Just the best price you can possibly get in plants. And they're shipping really well. I don't know how we're going to do in the summer. I'm shipping with ice so far, and the heat's not too bad. Every week, though, is like I'm nervous until I start getting good reports. But last week was 100% perfect report. I'm shipping better, just doing a better job. So far, so good. Love you all. Bless you. See you next Sunday. Check out the new video. It'll be out Tuesday. Please share that. And come on over to Father Fish Shoal. Jump right in. The water's fine. What a fun place to be. You will love it. Guaranteed. Bless you. Bye for now.